I wish. No. I think what happened was that you have dated information, so it was 14,723.
Down to
799. Yeah, 13,799.
Keeping in mind that the larger number, the 14,000, that's the number that you as a district can bill. And the other number that she has is the one that the state uses in the state software budget to calculate the cost per pupil. It's a little bit lower than what we can actually bill for services.
Yes.
How many tuition students will we fill out that full year?
I believe I put in the budget this year there are 4 that we're anticipating next year.
Almost $100,000.
Why would a student pay tuition come here? I mean, I think it's a great district. I'm not saying it's wrong, but what would motivate them?
Primarily the motivation for the past 2 years or 3 years with students who have been tuition students has been the International Baccalaureate program.
How many students are we?
There are 4 presently.
Four slides you went through real quick.
Yeah, more than
There's a
that.
lot of people here concerned about their tax dollars. Can we look at those 4 slides that show
Sure,
the
why not?
equalization values?
You know. Do you know which ones he wants?
Yeah, you go to the 4.
Right here?
5. Consolidated district, that gets confusing.
The public does, I believe, have a copy of those sheets. Yeah. We made sure that they, because we knew we were going to go through this quickly, and
All right.
it's information they can take home with them.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah, board. Public. Mr. Emery.
Jeff Emery, Washington Township. Jackie, is next year the first year that the student population in recent history is going to be higher at Mendon than at Central? Did I read that slide right?
I believe
That's correct.
But those numbers are also very close.
Right. No, I noticed that, but I noticed that the change from last year to the following year is pretty significant. It's like 60 or 70. Like Mendon jumps up quite a bit, and Central falls back. Okay. Thank you.
I believe so. Yes. Mr. Fitting.
Ms. Adam Fitting, Long Valley. I just want to commend the board on producing such a value-packed budget. I say that in all honesty. I don't know of anywhere on the planet that for between about $2,500 and $3,100 per household per year, you can produce a human being that is equipped to be one of the most competitive, valuable things that the universe has ever seen. I think it is a wild value. Compared to the average amount of money that's spent on candy, coffee, and cigarettes by the average American, it blows my mind. This is a steal of a budget. I don't know how you did it.
Would you like to come back to school?
Honestly, yes. The question I would have is why we are always presenting it as a cost. And a cost is the price paid to acquire, produce, accomplish, or maintain anything. Everything has a cost. Anything you build, anything you make. Anyone that has a child knows that there are going to be costs involved. But is that the decision that they make when they decide to bring somebody into the world? Or do they instead look at the value of that proposition? Do they look at the relative worth, value, or merit of that decision? The relative worth, value, or merit of that investment of time, energy, genetic material, and the rest. It seems to me that we should be talking about the value that you present, because I think it's an extraordinary value. I can't imagine how anyone could be against it, except if they are falling into a trap that Thucydides warned us about the selfish. which is that they devote a very small fraction of time to the consideration of any public object, most of it to the prosecution of their own objects. Meanwhile, each fancies that no harm will come to his neglect, that it is the business of somebody else to look after this or that for them. And so, by the same notion, being entertained by all separately, the common cause imperceptibly decays. And what we have, because we're reacting to the cost of what is an incredible investment, a return that Wall Street could never give you, even if they can make up $100 for every dollar you put in their fake banks. So I urge the board, obviously, to vote and pass this, and I will work diligently to make sure that every single person in these districts understands the value they're getting. I commend you on your work. I think you've done an outstanding job, and I think you deserve a round of applause from everyone.
Yes.
Dennis Deegan, Mendham Township. I think we all would have to agree with this gentleman's view of the world, where this, while it may be a cost, there's value involved. And I certainly agree with that. And I guess as a result of that, if we all agree with that, there's actually then no need to have a referendum. Because what we're saying there is that everyone in these 5 towns is willing to pay the same cost for their child to go to these schools. And if that's the way everyone's going to look at it, then I would think, as I said, there's no need for a referendum, because right now there's subsidization going on that means that the value that Long Valley is getting is far greater than the value of other communities. So are we going to have an opportunity to talk about that at another time? Great. I just thought that it was appropriate based on the gentleman's comments. Thank you.
Any other budget questions or comments? Yes.
In Clark, Chester Township. Last year I took some time to look at the budget numbers, and there were a couple categories that increased: tuition and health benefits, and then the rest of the budget was cut about 10%. And so I was wondering, since I'm not going to do that analysis again this year, what made it possible for you to bring a budget in at only a 0.5% increase? I know the state the previous year increased the premium for the state-run health benefits plan by 25%, and they only increased it by 9%, I guess, this year, so that probably helped us quite a bit. And I know you mentioned that tuition is down. Were there any other, did we cut everything 10% again in order to come in with a 0.5% increase?
We cut where we could. As you recall, there was the discretionary and non-discretionary categories, so we have very little we can do in the non-discretionary areas. We did lose staff last year. We lost 14 teachers and approximately 17 other staff, so that we took a hit in many respects, but also salary lines, payroll.
But if health benefits were up 9%, for instance, and we're going to give faculty a raise at some point, how do you come in with 0.5% up? I assume there were lots more cuts this year.
I'm going to let Doug answer that.
Within the payroll area, that and as well as benefit are the 2 largest components. And within the payroll area, what we were able to do this year is that we had anticipated retirements, so we took those into account and replacing those with the lower cost and a newer teacher. So that helped us a lot. And the other is with the health benefit, as we went through the cycle of last year into this year, we did have that reduction in staff. The percentage went up 8.6, I think, % is what the increase was that we had to absorb. And we were able to do that because of the state law that required us to take 1.5% of all of our employees' salaries in order to pay for health benefits. So that was a mitigating factor that helped.
So you're saying, my concern is, on an ongoing basis, our ability to continue to hit a 2% cap or these little things without continuing to cut. Because if health benefits goes up again, which it will, and you don't have the breakage on teacher salaries, we cut, we keep cutting at the 2% cap, unless we, we can, health benefits are outside the cap, so it's technically we can exceed it.
Correct.
I guess I'm making the same point, we're getting a lot of value, and my concern is how much we're cutting in order to reach this budget.
Well, this is a one-year budget. They're always 1 year. And we do have to respect our taxpayers' ability to pay. Last year, we had a budget that was under cap, and it was defeated by a lot. And then it was cut a lot. So we're trying to be conservative and have something that will be acceptable to the voters and still deliver on our mission statement and deliver a good education to our students. Next year will be another year. You never know what will happen. We have the Educational Jobs Fund, $170,000, 1 year. Maybe something else will come next year. State aid did go up a bit this year. It's still down considerably from 2 years ago. It went up a bit. So you never know completely from 1 year to the next. And the perspectives page was our best guess. 2 years ago, we never would have had a perspective page to reflect what we had last year. So we take it 1 year at a time as best we can for the budget anyway. Other budget questions? Yes?
Peter Deemer with Mendon Township. At first blush, I have to really commend the board and the budget process on this. I think if you look at it, it's respectful, certainly to the taxpayers. Yeah. I'm struck by a year ago we made unprecedented personnel cuts, and it doesn't appear that we're going to cut further on personnel. I'm not terribly sure about that. But certainly in terms of tax increase, tax levy, it's probably a modest increase, so I think the board is respectful. With respect to the impact on kids, and you showed that slide, for me at least, maybe I'm more